Seeds versus starters. Everyone seems to have their preference on how they plant their garden. And in certain situations, one is definitely more preferable than the other. So let's look at the differences between growing our favorite veggies, both from seeds and from starters, and when we should be doing which. And it starts right now. When you're trying to decide how to plant your favorite crops, one way is to look at the advantages and disadvantages for each method for that specific crop. Do this for each crop and you can get an idea. If not, start to develop a list of which plants grow the best with each method. And then after that, a great way to refine that list right off the bat is to categorize which plants can only be grown a certain way. For instance, outside of asparagus, every crop out there can be grown from seed. But further to that, there are some crops that can only be reasonably grown from direct seeding in your garden. One of the most obvious advantages of direct seeding versus starter plants is that some crops are really only possible from seed. Plants such as carrots, beets, spinach, most spring lettuce mixes, and even arugula. This is dictated by either their growth habit, the speed of their growth, or even being a poor transplanter. For whatever the reason, with these plants, the choice is easy because it's already made for us. So here's my list of plants that I only grow from direct seeding. Yours may be different or have more additions. Just use this as a starting point. Anyone that knows me or that's watched more than 2 videos on this channel knows that I'm extremely biased towards starter plants. If given the choice, I will 100% of the time take control of the crop early, germinate it before the weather is ready, and start a series of transitions until those plants are ready for planting. The advantages of growing your favorite crops from starter plants are many. Some of the bigger advantages would be the ability to cherry pick the best genetics, less guesswork, steps, or maintenance, and finally, ensuring a successful crop almost every time. But no advantage is as glaringly important as buying yourself time. In areas with cool winters or finite growing seasons, being able to plant established, fully started crops is paramount. Certain plants require a growing window of time that your area may not be able to provide. In the case of tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, eggplant, zucchini, squashes, and many more, if the cold nights of fall hit before your crops have flowered and set fruit, you may not get any harvest at all. In that case, your only choice is to grow crops initially in an advanced state from starter plants. By either starting your own seeds indoors during the winter or simply buying starter plants during the spring, you can give yourself an invaluable head start that's simply not possible with direct seeding. For example, by starting your zucchinis indoors in February, you can plant the advanced young seedlings in your garden in May and begin eating delicious summer squashes by June. If you were to direct seed those zucchinis in the allowed time in April, your first harvest would likely be August. But not only do you get earlier harvests, you also get extended harvests. Many of our warm weather crops will continue to produce as long as the weather permits. So having those tomatoes producing fruit from May until September will obviously yield you double the harvest than they will producing from July to September. 4 months of fruiting or fruitfulness versus 2 months, that's hard to argue with. With gardening, we tend to go with what we know. What's worked for us in the past is usually what we stick with. This is no different with the preference of direct seeding over the use of starter plants. However, next time you go to plant your favorite crop, think about the criteria that we talked about today, and then ask yourself, which strategy is going to give me the maximum harvest? Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you're getting value in this and the other series that I'm doing on YouTube, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you in the next video.